Hey everyone, this is Melody with Design by Melody. I am here with a process video for you today. Now, I was waiting on my February kit to get here, so I had done a few layouts using other supplies that I had in my stash, such as this one, which is the Gossamer Blue 2017 main kit, and I absolutely love the colors in this kit. And when I pulled out these photos to actually scrapbook, there's a lot of blue in these photos, and there's a lot of well, it's all based around like bike riding and being in the car and being at the football game and things like that. So I thought the blues and the greens that were in the reds that were in this kit would be really perfect to pair with this. So I only have one 4x6 pocket to actually do something with, and then I have one empty 3x4 pocket. But I do need to back my other 3x4 photos because they're not exactly 3x4. So I need to put something in all of the 3x4 pockets and one in the 4x6 pocket. So I'm going to use this wonderful, beautiful kit and kind of just create this, well, not kind of, but actually create this layout. So I pulled out the tags first. Funny enough, I'm actually starting with the embellishments, and this is not my typical pattern of scrapbooking, but I just love the embellishments in this kit, and I thought it would be helpful to start with the embellishments and figure out exactly which ones I want to use and then add in the pattern papers behind them. So I pulled out two tags. Because I punched out the letters off of that one tag, I had to write it on the back of the package so I would know what those letters spelled later when I come back to this kit to work with. So I have the one tag that says high five at the top, and then I have the blue one here in the middle that's going to be a filler card that says the story of today. I also put two of the rubber banners. The top one says this is my favorite, and the bottom one says stay curious. And then I actually decided to go ahead and pull out my papers. I felt like I had enough embellishments on the layout to kind of know where I wanted to go, and so I pulled out the papers to work with. So I have my little Ellie Studio calendar card, which I typically use for my title cards, and this one is just the November 2016, of course. And I'm going to layer it here with this tag on top of this really beautiful striped paper in the background. And I just trimmed that out and put it on that piece of white cardstock to use as a border around the edges. Now, I had, of course, the scraps from that, so I'm looking to see if that will work. It's just got like a triangular pattern on the background, and then I'm also looking at the other papers that are in the kit. So whenever I'm doing my Project Life pages, I always pull out a Project Life card to like cut the card exactly to fit in the Project Life pages. I feel like since I use those page protectors, it's just easier to use a Project Life branded card as kind of a template to be able to make sure that the cards slide in, and I don't have to continuously trim down the cards to fit in the little pockets. As you know, if you've done Project Life scrapbooking with the Project Life designed page protectors, I use the Design A, as you can tell. But I have found that if you use those Project Life page protectors, you just have to make sure that you trim those cards down a little bit. They are not a true 3x4. They're more of like a 3 7/8 kind of size, or 3 and, I don't know, 15/16 or something like that. Some of the pockets are a little bit wider than the other ones. So if you actually use a Project Life card as a template, you'll get it perfect and it'll fit every time. You don't have to worry about it. All right, I've got my papers trimmed down. I've got like a teal paper with the numbers on it. I've got that red chevron diagonal kind of paper. I've got that white and blue behind the tag that's got these little circles on it. And then I've also got this black and white striped, kind of like a herringbone kind of pattern on the right under the bicycle. Now, I don't know, for some reason the camera, and it may have just been my lighting that day, I felt like it looked a little foggy. I'm gonna have to clean my lens to make sure that it's not the actual lens, but I feel like the video is not quite as crisp as I typically like. Now, I know I'm scrapbooking at night, so I'm using artificial lighting, which I know does make a difference, but I do have daylight bulbs, but it just seems a little bit foggy to me, so hopefully I'll fix that by the time I have the next layout for you guys. But you can still definitely see what I'm doing. The color is just not quite as clear as I typically like it. So I've got all my papers kind of sorted out here, and now I'm going to start looking at additional embellishments to see what I want to do. So that middle photo on the left and the bottom photo on the left are from a football game. That photo of the drawing is a drawing that Kaylin made. And he likes to use my iPad and the pencil on my iPad, which I have lost. We lost it in the move, and I still have not found it. But he likes to use the pencil and just draw on the Paint app on my iPad. And so this was just a picture he drew. The bottom right photo and the photo in the middle to the right are of Kaylin riding his bike. And then the top photo is just Kaylin and I in the car one day. So this is my scrap bin. This is where I kind of keep little bits of things, the ends of packages or papers that are just scraps that I want to kind of use up, just random little bits. And I keep this right beside my desk to pull from whenever I'm looking for something. And what I was looking for were some journaling bits. So this kit didn't really have a whole lot of journaling bits. So what I did is just went through that scrap pack, let me try that again. Scrap box to see if I have anything, and I had plenty of little things. And also found this little banner that says "Better Together." That was off of a manufacturing strip from a pattern paper I used months ago. So I'm just going to use that as well. And then I did pull out one of the stamps to create a little label, which is exactly what I'm doing right here. And I just stamped that on a piece of grid paper that was in my scrap bin, and it says, "This boy is trying to ride his bike so hard, still working on balancing." So at this point in time, he still had his training wheels on his bike. Let's see, 2006. Okay, so he would have been 5. He still had his training wheels on this bike. And the problem we have is that he's so tall, he grows out of the bikes. Even though he wasn't necessarily riding without training wheels, the bike that actually fit his height did not come with training wheels, and you could not add them. So this bike that he's on in these pictures is actually too small for him, but since he had to have training wheels, he had to ride the bike that was slightly too small until he figured it out. And he quickly figured it out, but at this point in time, we would spend afternoons outside just trying to help him learn how to balance. So he had no problem riding it, and he wasn't scared or anything, but he would just always lean to one side. It was the balancing part that he had issues with. So I took some pictures one day when he and I were outside. We just had to take his training wheels off one day when we actually were camping, and just let him go and figure it out. And he figured it out. Within an hour he had it, but there was a long process in the trying to learn phase. So I'm going to do something here that I don't think I've ever done it. And it worked perfectly fine. I've seen plenty of other people do. But whenever I use some of the chipboard pieces, I'm actually going to pull out my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher and use it to staple right through the chipboard pieces. And I was pleasantly surprised that I had absolutely no problem stapling through the chipboard. I actually think it looks really cool. And I do always, well, now I do. I didn't originally, but now I always adhere my rubber pieces by just stapling through them. So both of those banners are stapled through at both ends. I don't have any actual adhesive on those, though they are a little bit sticky and they just kind of stick to the photos themselves. So I'm using one of the scrap pieces that I pulled out of my scrap bin to just add a title to this bottom photo, because though you could probably tell what it is, it just seems a little odd. So I just stamped out Football Friday Night using these Studio 29 design Walden print stamps, and I absolutely love these. Unfortunately, she no longer is in business, so you can't purchase them, but they really are awesome little stamps. They're alpha stamps, and they're a little less than 1/2 inch tall, but they're very skinny. So if you ever find a stamp set like this, I highly recommend it. It works really well for Project Life, as well as 12 by 12 scrapbooking or card making or anything like that. It also works really good in a planner if you stamp in your planner. Let's see. All right, so I'm working through the rest of the embellishments in the kit, trying to figure out what else I want to add. I still have all my little journaling bits over here to the side, so I'm going to still add a few little captions. I'm adding one right here to the photo of the drawing that Kaylin did, and I just put Kaylin's paint masterpiece, and I'm going to do another little asterisk right on the edge of that to kind of tie that in as well. Add a little bit of something to it, but not a whole lot of extra. All right, I'm getting near the end of the layout. I'm just adding a few more little bits and pieces, and I'm going to do a few more little staples using my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher, and then that kind of finishes out this layout. I will link all of the additional supplies that I used in the description box below. Unfortunately, I don't think any of these kits are available still, but you can always replicate a kit like this by using things from your stash. So let me know if you guys have any questions whatsoever. Adding a few little word stickers here. You can see those in the description, and the still photos at the end, but there's happiness added to my November title card, and then I have family time, everyday life, and happy home added to that blue card, and then quality time here on the photo with Ernest and Kaylin, and then the last one says go see do right here above the stay curious rubber piece. All right, so that finishes out. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. All right, guys, bye.